It says the live video is starting, but I'm not sure if it's actually live or not, so we will give it a moment. Okay, so I'm gonna go live there for a second, or if I was actually live or just waiting. So, um, getting notifications. So, hi everybody, thank you for joining me live. Popping on here sort of impromptu, but I'm going to be doing this for the next 7 days or so. I went live on my Instagram yesterday because my book, it's called Deep Self Magic, a step-by-step roadmap to spiritual authenticity, and it comes out. We're launching next Thursday, so a week from today, October 28th. So, leading up to that, I wanted to kind of hop on regularly to go live and kind of talk about where apparently my frame rate is too low. Okay, don't know what to do about that. So, I'm going to say we're probably fine. We're just going to roll with it. So, but I wanted to talk about, kind of do some lives and talk about how the book came to be, sort of where some of the ideas that are in it, like what's in it, a little bit, where those things came from, who I am, for those of you who don't know me. So, but the short, sort of download of information about this book, it does come out next Thursday, October 28th. It's called Deep Self Magic, and we are going to have a launch event. It's going to go beyond Zoom and also stream to Facebook. All of those details can be found at deepselfmagic.com. And there's going to be giveaways for 14 days, starting on the launch next Thursday and then every day after. So giving away things like yesterday I talked about on the Instagram my coloring book series, and today I wanted to kind of talk about another thing that's going to be given away as part of the 14 days, and that's that a few years ago I made a tarot workbook. So I'm also a tarot artist and tarot reader. I don't do that sort of actively right now as part of my, I don't do readings, but for the public. But I created a workbook that essentially it guides you through the process of learning the cards and kind of getting that personal connection to each of the card meanings by asking you to sort of look at the card from your own perspective and your own experience and the people you know and the references that are relevant to you, like asking things like, what song reminds you of this card, or what person in your life reminds you of the card, and that kind of thing. So so that you basically create your own tarot resource by going through the workbook. So that is one of the things that is going to be given away in the 14 days. But so I'm going to jump right into sort of the meat of the the discussion today, because I kind of wanted to talk about this is part two of how the book came to be. And yesterday on the Instagram, and you can find this on like my YouTube channel, I've kind of spread it around. It's on my uh, Bridget Owens Magic Facebook page as well. But I talked about kind of my path from being an evangelical preacher's kid to being part of the pagan community and writing and getting into alchemy and all of those things. Um, the thing is that, the first steps towards magical practice for me kind of happened after I became Catholic. And, those first little seeds, I think I mentioned last night, finding this book on feng shui and getting into that, starting to do things, the meditative, like, praying the rosary, and how that's sort of the personal private rituals. There's a lot of, I after I joined the pagan meetup, heard people refer to Catholic as sort of plastic, or no, Protestants are plastic Catholics. That's my English teacher from high school. But that, like, Catholic is sort of like the first steps towards paganism. That it's sort of witchcraft light, in that it's so ceremonial, and there's all of the the lighting the candles and the incense and the chanting and the special like, rituals, and that all of that kind of naturally leads into magic, and it kind of did for me as well. Um, But the thing is that, once I started attending the meetup, and I, you know, talked to all of these people with different takes on things and different backgrounds, and, started learning little bits of crystals and candle magic and alchemy, and discussing, the ethics of magic and all of this stuff. I did as I think a lot of people do, and sort of set about trying to find what path fit me. Like, is it, does Wicca appeal to me, or do I want to, study Norse gods, or do I want to, like, what am I, like, where do I find truth? And I didn't try a lot of traditional paths, because I just kind of had this feeling that wasn't for me. But I was still in all of my, looking into various kind of cultural paths, and even getting in at one point. I was, I do love the show Ancient Aliens, and I kind of went on this bent of, is there some truth to that? And all of these kind of different things, that I think what I was trying to do was trying to figure out what truth was. Because I grew up in a, spiritual path that was all about truth. And that was, I thought, sort of the point of spirituality and the point of religion was to, find truth and to follow truth. And what I ended up realizing, and I talk about this in the book, in the first part, is that when I really sat down and went, why is it that I am even pursuing spiritual things? Like, what is it about a spiritual life that I need? And what is it about this stuff that is not just appealing to me, but actually having an impact on my life? What that boiled down to wasn't truth. And, if you think about, and I did, like, this is where it kind of came down to, and thinking about, if all of these paths are out there, and we all think that we're searching for truth, the likelihood that one of those paths, if you given the whole history of mankind and all of, the different religions there have been, the different spiritual philosophies, the different leaders to follow, the different books, and all of the different cultural traditions, and all of that, from the furthest distant history of humans on Earth to now, the chance that the idea that one of the religions on Earth right now has truth, and the rest of them didn't get it right, and that truth is going to stay, we're always going to consider it the truth from here until the end of humanity, is really kind of unreasonable it's illogical to assume that that's correct. And the other, I know that there are this idea of, like, omnism, that like, there is a little bit of truth in all of the paths, and that's an interesting way to look at it, and I've landed a slightly different way. And instead of worrying about which one's truth and who has the truth and which one's the right truth, and we're going to fight about truth, because when it comes down to it, that's not what drives us in and out of different paths. So part of what I kind of want to do with the book is ask the question and have people ponder the question, like, how conscious have your choices been on your spiritual path? Like, have you ever sat down and thought, like, what is it that I need spiritually? Like, not what is the right path, what feels right, or what's going to lead me to the right place, but where am I sitting right now, spiritually speaking? My deep self, what does it need, and how do I meet that need? Because ultimately, that's what spirituality, that's the purpose that it fills in our lives, and that's where we find the path that fits us. It's the one that fills those needs. So, a lot of us, I think, is the impulse is to try the paths that seem interesting, try the paths that are more unlike the ones that we haven't liked in the past, and it's sort of this searching for something that we kind of think we think we'll know when we find it that that's what we have been searching for, and for the most part, it doesn't work real well for all of us. If you look around at everybody who's still spiritually seeking, it's not been a very good way to seek out fulfilling spiritual practice. So, questions like what do you do when a path isn't right for you, and how would you even know if it's right or wrong? So that's one of the things that I get really deeply into in the book, because that's where this process starts. This searching for spiritual authenticity, a path that speaks to our authentic selves. Like that's where it has to start, is getting to know. Not just what we need, but sort of what we do. Like, how would we know when we find it? so, so yeah, just, we often treat this spiritual seeking and this journey that we're on as a scavenger hunt for the truth. Like, the only choices that we have are the ones that are already prepackaged and already have labels and doctrines, but all of those paths are also in the process of evolving, just like we are evolving. So none of them are really truth, and that frees you up. I mean, I think to find a path that's really right, instead of trying to find a path that's true. So that's something to ponder in the next 7 days or so before the book launch. I welcome any questions anybody has about the book itself. There's lots of materials and information on deepselfmagic.com if you're curious to learn more about the book. Please follow me. Facebook.com/Bridget Owens Magic is the Facebook page to go to see more of my work and what's in the future, those kinds of projects. And I invite you all. The launch event is going to happen at 8:30 Eastern p.m. On October 28th. It will be on Zoom. There will be a Facebook invite that I will be sending out to people that are on my page, and so if you and those who are subscribed on the website at deepselfmagic.com. So if you want the invites and you want the details, please sign up at any of those places, and that will, if you subscribe on the website, that makes you eligible for the giveaways. So kind of not gonna drag it out tonight. I did a very late live stream last night, so I'm not gonna do that tonight. Thank you very, very much for watching, whether you were live or watching this on the replays, and can't wait to see you next week.